Hey everybody, it is On Screen, Off Screen, back again. We're talking books, TV shows, movies, all the good stuff and how it influences our lives. We've got Lauren, the greatest, with an awesome shirt. And then we've got Josh, who has a horse on his shirt. Let's start with the person with the clearly better shirt. Lauren, let's go to your topics first.
Okay. So I watched Spirit. I think I can't remember what the full title is. I
Oh,
picked this
the one about the horse.
the one about the horse. Yes. It's I picked this one because I remember like as a kid they have like the extra like bonus features and they like showed you how they drew the horses and everything. And I remember that like me and my sister would like sit and watch Spirit and like draw the horses over and over and over again. And
That's cool.
then when I was at school for animation, there was a part where we would choose to either animate a horse walk cycle, a dog walk cycle, or a squirrel walk cycle.
Okay.
And everybody ran away from the horse walk cycle because apparently it was the hardest. But I was like, hold up, 8-year-old me got me. Was able to just like I think it was like within an hour I had the walk cycle down pat and it was like flawless and everybody's like, why'd you pick the horse? And I was like, have you ever watched Spirit? Like I had to.
I've been studying this for my whole life.
I was ready for this
For
moment.
this day.
Exactly, just to show off. And there yeah, I really like this movie. Even like when I was a kid, I remember watching this on repeat. And it has, oh my gosh, now I can't think of who sings the track.
Oh,
Uh
that 1980.
yeah,
What is his name? Brian Adams. Brian.
Bryan Adams, there we go. Yeah. I love Bryan Adams and this score is really good.
It's very
Um
good.
I remember my mom had the soundtrack as like a CD, and we would like listen to it in the car when we would drive. And yeah, I it's was a good one to go back on. The animation's gorgeous in this movie. Uh, the story is great. It has horses. What more could you
You
want?
want? Um. So actually, the whole podcast is about movies that change your life, and this one completely changed my life. Um, when I was a kid, I rode a horse, and his named Spooks. It was my horse, and Spooks I didn't realize was a little horny devil at the time, but there was a mare that came riding past on the front road, and Spooks was like, "Oh, pretty," and decided to run. I fell off of the mare, hit my head on cement, and literally almost drowned in my ditch. And I was absolutely terrified of riding horses at all. I didn't want to touch them. I was scared of them. Then I watched this movie over and over and over again, and I was like, "Dang it, they're so cool!" And so I decided to try riding horses again. I became comfortable with horses again after I almost died because of this movie.
Well, that's good. It's funny because like I feel like a lot of people who ride horses have one moment where they like get kicked off and they're like, "Oh, I'm scared again." And it's like, no, you have to get back on that horse. That's why they say like, or like get back on, like when you wreck your bike or whatever. They're like, you have to get right back on, or else you can develop that fear and never go back to loving something you could enjoy. But yeah, it's funny. My uncle actually um, breeds horses, and I remember one of his horses' names was PC. And I was mad for years that I was like, I remember asking him to name that horse Princess Crystalina when he was asking us to name horses. And yeah, PC stood for Princess Crystalina. So I was mad all those years for nothing. And I literally just found this out like 2 years ago that her name was Princess Crystalina.
That's so bad. Literally, as soon as you said that, I was like, it probably stands for Princess Crystalina.
Yeah, no, I did not catch on for literally like a decade.
That's crazy. This movie is awesome. The animation is beautiful. And the part where it's like, "I will be free," and then Spirit is on top of the cliff, and the hairs waving, its mane is waving in the wind. It's epic. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
I would
and
listen to
there's
that song over and over and over again, and I can still like picture that scene I can picture that scene and the song right now. It's
yeah,
so well done.
there's like, and then the one when he's in the train and it's like, yeah, sound the bugle now, and it's like, oh, yeah, like I miss when movies were kind of like an album where they had one person dedicated to it. Like when they had, was it Phil Collins for Brother Bear
Yeah, and for
and
Tarzan.
Tarzan? Yeah, I loved when they had like an artist like that do a soundtrack that went with um, the movie. But yeah, this one's great. I like literally I can't think of anything wrong with this movie because I think of like sometimes there's when I'm watching something I'm like, oh, we have to just get through this part for it to be for it to get to the more interesting parts. But like all the chunks of this movie were great and flowed well, and the music hit, like every single song hit. uh Animation was great. I don't think there was one spot where I was like, oh, I could have animated that a little bit better. It was just gorgeous. um yeah, honestly, like I think, and I don't think I know of anybody else who's like, this movie sucks, let's not
Me
watch
either.
it. So I like, I almost want to say I should have put it on my underrated list, but I don't think it is underrated. I just think that it just doesn't get talked about how good it is as much as it deserves. But yeah, so that's my thing on Spirit.
Very cool. So what do you rate Spirit?
I should like, because that's what I was thinking with the ratings of like, I should have this like, because I was thinking, oh, it's like a solid 8 or whatever. But then I was like, no, I literally just said it was flawless. So I'd have to say it's a 10. I think it's
Okay.
a 10 because music, animation, story, it's all great. I remember being really sad when I was a kid and realizing that Spirit wasn't a true story, like verbatim.
You thought it was
But
real?
I
That's
thought it was
so
real. It
funny.
had to be. But yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Is Spirit the best horse in movies? Then
Oh, that's a good question. I
Mm,
like that question.
mm. I want to say yes, but there's others.
so you brought up horses being like really hard to animate, and
Hmm.
like that started to make me think like horses are in so much animation though. If they're so hard to animate,
They're not like the hardest thing to animate, but out of the choices that we had for that assignment, they were the hardest to
What's the
animate.
hardest animal to animate?
For me or for community?
Like general community. What is what do people think is the hardest?
I think a lot of people said horse.
Okay.
Because like also the hardest thing in animation is a walk cycle. But people walk all the time in animation. But if you have a solid walk cycle, then you can animate anything. Is kind of
Okay.
like the saying. So it's, even though
Cool.
it's like one of the hardest to animate, doesn't mean that people won't animate it. Because that's what I think about all the time when I'm watching animated stuff. And I'm like, they chose to animate that. I was like, that was so extra. They chose to animate that, and that must have been hard. Um, so yeah, I think a lot of the times animators are in it for the love of animating it instead of just trying to find the easiest path. But
well, that's just like crazy. So like I made a quick little list like Road to El Dorado, Tangled, and Mulan all have very expressive, very involved sidekick horses. All very underrated shows, but they all chose horses when they could have picked anything.
I think people just like horses.
Yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
mean, like, I'm another thing that like came to mind is like a snake might be tricky to animate because I'm thinking of like the I almost said live action, the animated Robin Hood, with like the fox's Robin Hood, and they have the
Mhm.
snake. Uh, they animate that snake so creatively. Because there's a part where he folds his arms, but he's a snake, so he doesn't have arms. So they like had two loops, like go like that to make it look like he was crossing his arms like a harumph. And like to me, I think that would be harder to try to be creative to make a snake be expressive. Um, but then there's like,
Well, to me, there's also like the movement of a snake, like with stuff with legs. You have it touches this point on Earth, right, and then moves. Where with the snake, it's wiggling, so I could see it being difficult to like have it wiggle too much and make it look like it's going faster without the progression or that kind of stuff.
yeah, because, and like, literally it just comes down to like references and like a lot of references and stuff. So the thing that like I go back to like the arms crossed, you're never gonna see a snake do that in the wild. So it's like the imagination for somebody to do that, and then where do you get the reference for that to animate that? So it's like they just had to like figure out how to do that. Whereas like with horse animation, you can just video a horse running, galloping, walking, uh, to what you need, and then have a reference to animate it. So yeah, and like with the snake's movement, you could also like video a snake moving, but it's when they take the creative liberties with an animal to make them more expressive that I'm like, that was so smart. Like, I wish I was as smart as some of these animators because, yeah, I lived off of my animation references.
That's really cool. Well, let's go on to our next one. Josh, let's start with your first topic.
Okay. So my topic is Walker, the one with Jared Padalecki. Um, I remember watching the old one, but don't really remember a whole lot about it, so I can't really compare the two. Um, but for what I do have to say, the son in it is the best looking, or not the best looking, but like actually looks like Jared Padalecki's son. Um,
Oh.
in the way that like there are certain shots where you would go that looks exactly like Jared Padalecki, and then certain shots in different angles where it doesn't look as much. And I've never really like noticed that in other stuff before. Like there's good looking, like yeah, that you'd buy it, but this one it's like, you know, when you actually go to meet somebody's family, there are times where you're like, oh, they look identical, and then other times with different angles and stuff where you're like, I don't see it very much. Um,
Yeah.
so I noticed that, and I'm like, wow, that's very very cool. That was a great casting choice. Um, the fight scenes and the choreography start off really rough and get better. I don't remember how early it is. It's like the first or second episode. There's a punch that is thrown as not Walker, but his partner jumps into the back of a pickup and then like throws a punch at the driver, and it's literally like, uh, and I'm like, that is the worst choreography I think I've ever seen in something like this. Like it is horrible, but it does get better, and I do get that that was probably a tricky shot to get. Um, it does get better throughout. I still haven't seen him throw a roundhouse kick though, so can't really say for sure. Um, the father daughter relationship in season one is very, very well done. Um, Jared's character's dealing with the loss of a wife, the daughter's losing, dealing with the loss of a mom. Neither of them have grieved. Walker's being a really crappy absent father, so the daughter is just like bearing all of that, and it actually goes through a cycle of doubt and then slowly gaining trust. It's not like just suddenly in one episode the daughter's like, "Oh, I can trust you to be a dad again." And like the element of doubt keeps coming back. Um, Jared is better when he's not doing an accent. There's scenes where he's just Jared and he's just talking with people, and it's very good. And
Okay.
there are scenes where he's like trying to force the southern accent, and it takes me way out of it. I'm like, dude, just
Just not
stop.
good with it.
Just just don't. Like your regular speaking is close enough that everybody would buy it. Stop doing this way over the top. Maybe it's just the changing, and I've noticed the changing, but I really don't buy his Texas accent. Um, and then I really like the bartender played by Audette Annabelle, but I hate what they did with her character. They basically wrote her out and then brought her back in for a little bit and then wrote her out again. And I was like, no, like her character is so good. She's basically this wisecracking, sassy, sarcastic, shit talker bartender girl who always calls out Walker for being an idiot. And I really like that, but they basically wrote her out. I'm like, no. They were supposed to like make fun of each other until the grieving process was done and then get together because they're like best friends. Um, but you know, it is what it is. So far, I'm really liking the show. No, it's not the best show ever. Yes, it has its problems. But as for a reboot, it's probably one of the best ones.
I was gonna say most people know Jared Padalecki from Supernatural. Does that
Yeah.
like a lot of times some people have trouble shaking one role going that they've done for years into going to another one? Did that ever shine through, or was it?
No, because I'm not a big Supernatural fan. I really like the early seasons, but as soon as there's angels and demons, that show's terrible to me. Like
That's what I think too.
it starts off and you go, okay, I can suffer through this, and then it gets to a point where I just like stop watching entirely.
Huh.
Um, with the one exception of the Scooby Doo crossover, because that's the best crossover thing that
Of
has
all time.
ever existed in anything. So, um, but yeah,
And this has. Have you seen everything that's come out of Walker so far?
oh, just the first season,
Okay. How many seasons are there?
4.
Okay. So
Are
you're.
you a Supernatural fan, Lauren?
I am on this. Okay, so I've watched all of them, but I agree with you guys that once the angels and demons come in, I'm like, not a fan. But I kept watching it for like when they would have the filler episodes that were the monster of the week type things. And I'm like, yes! And then they'd go back to the storyline. I was like, oh. So it was a lot of, yeah.
Went on for another like 15 years.
Oof. And I
Crazy.
didn't like the ending. I was so mad with the ending. Anyway, but this is Walker.
Yeah.
um,
But you feel like he does a good job, Josh. I haven't seen him in anything but Supernatural. I've seen.
Gilmore Girls.
Oh, I have seen that. Okay. That doesn't count because Gilmore Girls is terrible, and I will not hold anybody to the standard that is that trash garbage show. Everybody gets forgiveness, and everybody deserves it for being in that show. I hate Gilmore Girls. I hate that
He's
show.
in Friday the 13th from 2009.
Oh, I have seen that one. I forgot about that. I do like him in that. He does a good job in that.
He's young MacGyver.
Never seen that.
I've never seen that either. I didn't even know that was a thing. But
Me either.
But yeah, you don't feel like it's a typecast.
No, I feel like those who do get typecast are actors who get the role that is just that actor, and so they can't really act. They
Mm.
just happen to get lined up with like who they really are, and then
They're
they get
just playing their
typecast as that.
personality.
Yeah. Whereas Jared is kind of, you know,
He's good enough.
good enough that like, and Supernatural's not big enough or overwhelming enough, at least to me, to overshadow it. So
So are you gonna watch the other seasons, or?
yeah, I'm gonna keep watching the show.
Cool. Cool. All right, let's move to my first topic. And actually, it's a little extra thing that I found out about today. Kickstarter is doing an anthology series that I wanted to bring up called Unbroken. They did a Kickstarter a while ago for a different author who had a bunch of medical bills, and a bunch of other authors came together to try to donate enough money to help pay this author's medical bills. That author who put that together now is the one who has the medical bills. So a bunch of authors came together to write this Unbroken and help him with his medical bills. And the names on this are crazy. There's Terry Brooks, there's Jim Butcher, Matt Dinneman is doing one of them, Scott Lynch, Mark Lawrence, Brandon Mull is doing one of them, Christopher Palladini, R.A. Salvador, Brent Weeks, Brandon Sanderson. Like, you have some major names that are all coming together to be able to write this. Some of my favorite authors of all time are coming together. And I think it's really cool that they saw a fellow coworker of a kind in need and they decided to come together and help him out.
So is this like one of those series where like one author, is it a series that they're
So it's an anthology. So like you'll write a short story, and it's a group of,
put into
I
like
don't know,
one book?
30 authors that are all writing short stories in one book to help this guy pay off some medical bills. And I thought
Okay.
that was cool.
Yeah, because I've
That was
heard
cool.
of like authors banding together to like make a series where one writes the first book, next one writes the second book. But yeah, I haven't heard of something like that. That's cool. So have you gotten the book, or did you just hear about this?
So the Kickstarter it launches on September 23rd. I just wanted to let people know and have them watch out because
Yeah.
it's a good cause. And you might find, like, I know probably half of the authors on this roster.
And
I'm
they're
going to
good.
read the stories, and they're all good. They are all excellent authors. I mean, you have the guy who wrote who wrote Aragon, yeah. Who you have the guy who wrote Sun Eater, my favorite current series. You have the Dark Elf trilogy. You have Brandon Sanderson, like just some major heavy hitters. And I would love to read some of these other authors' little works and be like, you know what, I really like your writing style. How about I check out your book series? And anybody else who's into that kind of thing, wants to find a new author, this is a good opportunity to do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was like,
All right.
is the guy from Ender's Game in there? Or is
Not
that
Ender's Game. Aragon is what I
Oh,
meant to
okay.
say.
I
I
was
just
gonna
misspoke.
say I took a class from the author from Ender's Game's brother, who's a composer, an orchestral composer for movies. Anyway, it was kind of cool.
That is cool. I got to play paintball with Orson Scott when I was like 7 years old. I had one of my dad's friends was super into paintball. He was in the military, and like when he was home, he would train shooting, which I think was kind of like a bullcrap thing now that I'm older. But he would train shooting by having a paintball gun, and he would go do paintball wars. And my dad took me when we were little kids, and Orson Scott was into paintballing at the time, at least. Kind of cool.
Was it
Anyway,
like at a paintball place that they would go, or like
he had some land up in the mountains, so we'd go up in the canyon, and there'd be trees all over the place, and we'd all get strapped with paintballs. And
so he's
because
just friends with Orson
yeah,
Scott? Oh, that's cool.
yeah, just a bunch of friends got invited, and he was there. But I was a little kid, and they told me that as my initiation to paintball, I had to take off my shirt and put on a helmet and basically run in my underwear while everyone shot me. I got
Yeah,
wrecked.
we used to paintball camping and stuff out in the woods. So that's why I was like wondering if they just like happened to run into him or if it was organized to go with him.
It was organized. There was a ton of people there. Like it was a lot of fun. It's one of my. I have a fond memory of it. It was really cool.
Now, was he
Really
one of
cool.
the ones shooting you in your underwear?
Absolutely, he was. Everyone shot me. I was in pair of shorts is what I was in, and with my shirt off, and they made me run like 100 yards, and I was this little kid with little legs, and I was like, I'm so tired. Stop shooting me.
Not
And I
many
just got
people can say an
wrecked.
author shot them with a paintball.
Yeah. Ender's Game author like shot me with a paintball. He probably was inspired some of his later books. Me like a little Ender getting shot in the face.
And then there was one scrawny kid.
One
Just got
scrawny
nailed.
kid just getting nailed. No, it was fun. It was fun. All right, let me go to my next book. It's Something Wicked This Way Comes. This has been on my list for a very, 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 very long time. And I love this book. I was very, very impressed. Fahrenheit 451. Have you guys read that?
Mhm.
Okay. I read it in school, and it's one of two books that I hated the most. Period. I struggled to get through this book so hard. I didn't like it at all. And then I
Fahrenheit?
liked this one enough to, yeah, I didn't like
Oh.
Fahrenheit 451 at all. And this book is written by the same author and makes me want to reread that book now that I'm older because this is just gorgeous. Every bit of writing is beautiful, and you can tell big icons of horror, especially Stephen King, quote this book as one of the books that inspired them to be a writer. And you can feel the writing technique and the good prose, the way that they beautifully put together words, inspired by this because it's gorgeous. Every line is like dripping with beauty and purpose and clarity. And you have these kids that run into a traveling circus type of a thing. And there's this creepy ringleader master who is basically acting kind of like a devil crossroads, offering them all of these different things that they want if they will just keep riding the carousel. Is kind of the idea. And these kids are getting deeper and deeper into this creepy atmosphere and they want to get out. One of the kids' father, his name's Charles, decides that he's going to help these kids out. He's going to help get them out. He's going to take down the ringleader. But the ringleader also has sway over him. And the father is talking about how the father is getting tempted by this idea of becoming younger again. And all of these misplaced use and all the aches and pains that he goes through. And you don't have to go through that anymore. You can just go back to being 16 again. We can take it all away from you. We can take away all the pain. But he decides to be a father and to be strong for these kids and ignore all these temptations to go back and erase the regrets of his life. And the way that they write this father and him dealing with regrets and dealing with those moments where he wasn't his best self, I connected with a whole lot of the moments where I wish that I could go back and I could be something better. And it was gorgeous. Like, it is gorgeously written, and you really connect with. I can see you connecting with different people depending on which time you read this book. The kids are written well enough and have good enough persuasions and good enough thoughts and good enough beliefs that you could connect with the kid. And I think if you read this when you were like 10, 11, 12 years old, you would connect with the kid. The father is well enough written that you can connect with him. And he doesn't feel like the typical father that's kind of a dope now. He feels like somebody who isn't perfect. Yeah, he's screwed up sometimes in his life, but he wants to be a good dad. He's strong enough to be a good dad. He's got a clear enough vision to be a good dad. The atmosphere is really creepy. There's a part where they deal with the carousel and they have the horses that is extremely creepy and vivid in my mind. If you guys read it, I think you'll like that part. But it's just gorgeous. And it ends up being, I wrote in my notes, like a dark Peter Pan. This ringleader devil type character is perpetually a child, and he's trying to keep children in the circus. He's trying to keep children in the carousel. and he's trying to make deals to allow adults to relive their childhood and literally become kids again. And it's a cool, dark, twisted fairy tale aspect to this book. This isn't the scariest thing I've ever read. It is just more horrifying, thrilling, haunting kind of a book, but it's beautiful, and I would highly recommend it. Highly.
So, when you say like horrifying but not scary, what's that distinction there for you?
Like gothic horror, like the surroundings are very creepy. You're in a creepy carousel. The people are creepy, but it's not like I can't read this without a light on kind of a thing. It's like this is a creepy and bad atmosphere that I'm immersed in. Does that sort of make
Like
sense?
unsettling but not unsafe.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
That's how I would put it. And it's beautiful. Beautiful. As far as rating goes, I would probably give it something like I think I want to give it a 9. I think it's deserves to be a classic. It's incredibly well written.
So you said it's not the scariest or creepiest, or probably not even your favorite in that genre.
Mm-hmm.
Where does it fall in your list? Is it top
Oh,
5, top 10?
I would be somewhere in the top 10 probably.
Okay.
Somewhere right in there. I'd say probably 6 or 7 in that range.
Even though you're
Um,
giving it a 9.
Even though I'm giving it a 9 because there's other ones that have been more impactful for me in this genre. When you get into the horrific elements, you get into a lot of deep emotion. The best horror books deal with deep emotion. And like Pet Cemetery absolutely racked me to my core, shattered me, moved me. And there's other books that are in where you're dealing with people in real situations that move me. But Pet Cemetery gets into those dark emotions that we don't often write about and we don't often think about, and it does it so well that it connected with a part of me that we don't really ever address or really talk about. And that's what I like about really good horror is the moments where you get into that dark recess that we don't talk about and we don't really work through and we kind of avoid. But it does it in a way that is healthy and actually lets you work through things and become a better person because you read it. I feel like I am a better person because I read Pet Cemetery. I feel like it helped me realize some things. This
So what
book,
would you rate Pet Cemetery for comparison?
as far as quality of book, I give that one like a 9.5, and that's probably just because I'm an arrogant bastard who won't give people tens.
Except you already did.
So I already
it was
did,
an 11.
but I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't
You
have
did.
done it.
There's no takebacks.
Shouldn't have done it. But Pet Cemetery was extremely moving for me. This one is that level of writing. It just didn't. The topics that it addresses just didn't hit me as hard as some of these other books, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so like if there was somebody that this book was targeted to, it would be a 10.
Yes, I think if you were a child who was feeling kind of lost in life and needed the book does a really good job of having these kids have that coming of age moment, and a lot of things I don't think pull off that very well. This is very much a defining moment in their life, and you can feel that as the reader. So if you were a kid trying to struggle through a moment like that in your life, I could see this being a book like that. If you were a 40-year-old man who has these kids and you don't really know how to do what you're doing, and you're trying to handle being a dad, and you're trying to be good, but you don't really know how to struggle through it, I think this book would help you feel not alone because you have somebody else who understands you without having to go to a therapy situation or a group therapy. You have a character that you can relate with. And that's one of the beautiful things about movies and TV shows is these characters that are living lives that are very similar to yours that you can connect onto, and you don't have to feel so alone. And I think the father in this story can be a character like that because it's well written enough to be that character. Okay. All
I
right,
think
guys.
you're wrong. I think it's a 10.
it's a very very good book. I would recommend it, guys. Especially it's not super scary, Lauren. So like, it's not one that's gonna freak you. I don't think. I mean,
Yeah, I was
it's
like,
haunting. It's not
I'm
scary.
usually good with books for scary,
Okay,
but yeah.
cool. Yeah, I would recommend it. All right, Josh. Let's go to your second topic.
Okay, so this one was a listener recommendation a while back. It took me a while to get around to it, but the show's MurderBot. Um, it's about a security robot who hacks his governor module, which apparently normally happens eventually with these AI robots. But in this case, instead of becoming murderous and terrible, he just decides to watch reality TV with his free time. And it's supposed to be about him, like, it's supposed to ask the question, like, what does it really mean to be human? Because, like, does he feel emotion? Yeah, he feels boredom. Um, does he, relationships? He feels bonded to his clients. Um, and they feel bonded to him eventually, and all this kinds of stuff. It just didn't work for me. Um, he's playing a robot, but like he comes off bored through the entire thing, and it just doesn't land. I don't feel like their message is very effective. Uh, so yeah, this was just not a show for me. I watched it; it was fine. There's definitely good elements to it, but when your main actor is not very good at his job,
Sing
it
Skarsgård
makes
isn't
it
pulling his weight.
struggles. Sure, whatever that
That's the
reference is.
main guy is
Guy.
Skarsgård.
Oh,
Yeah, he plays the clown in it.
okay.
No, I think he plays Tarzan, but his brother plays it.
Oh, is it his brother? Okay,
I
I
believe
thought it was
so.
him. All
Yeah.
right, good. I guess I'm wrong.
Or maybe I'm wrong.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, Bill Skarsgård is it?
um, yeah, I've actually seen the first couple episodes of this show, and it's funny because I didn't get the. I mean, I wouldn't have described it as bored until you said that, because like the way that I thought. And have you seen this show, Colin?
I've seen 3 episodes.
Okay, I think I've seen as much as you have. Um, but like it came off to me that like he was like biding his time to when he could like be free of his clients. Because he kept like mentioning all these times that he could kill them and like wanting to kill them and stuff, and to the point where he's like, okay, maybe I don't actually want to kill them. And like I really like the part where he was one of the clients gets hurt and he's like, it's gonna be okay. What's like, I think he like asked was like asking her personal questions and stuff to like try to make her feel better, and like shows his face and he's like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Oh dang, I'm so stupid. Stuff like that. And that's like the part that I liked about this show, is that I'm like, his inner monologue is very much like my inner monologue all the time, just always like going over a social interaction and being like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? That's like, oh my gosh. But so what were like the high points of it? Because you mentioned there were some good points of this. What was that for
That
you?
is the high point. You just
What
said
I
it.
just
That's the high point. I still think his inner monologue sounds bored. And like, I know he's playing a robot, and that's a very hard thing to like differentiate. But like, even when he is doing his inner monologue, he's like, I should not have said that. They're going to know my governor module has been hacked. I'm going to have to kill them. Darn. And it's not really like as energetic as you made it sound.
Yeah.
So,
and again, I know it's very difficult because he's playing a robot. It's just I didn't buy robot. I found bored person phoning in his lines,
Also, you felt like the actor was
just
bored.
going through the motions. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
so I've read 3 of these books, and I've tried watching the show. I think he actually does a good job with it. I just don't really vibe with the character. And there's a lot of people on like BookTube or any of those book reviewing type websites or channels that love this series, and I think it's supposed to be written like somebody who has done customer service for 1,000 years and is just sick of customer service. It's like, how can you be such a dumbass? Freaking just buy the right stuff. Don't return the exact same thing again. You can't return this. It is halfway empty. I know that you used it. I'm not dumb. It's halfway empty. I can see it. And it's supposed to have that kind of energy. And it works for some people. I don't like the books. I think this is a pretty good adaptation. I don't like that either, and it comes across being bored because if you've done the exact same thing for 1,000 years and you are just tired of dealing with the same dumbass clients, then you would probably act a lot that same way and think that same way, which I think is why it works for some people and why some people love it so much. The show didn't work for me. I don't really like the books. I read as many of them as I did because I have a friend who loves this series. It's just I don't love it. It's just not mine.
So, if the guy who voiced the robot in Rogue One was the robot, would you think you'd like it more, Josh?
Yeah. I genuinely think that like main part, like I get what Conlan's saying. I think that's what it's trying to do. I don't think this actor delivered that
Yeah,
at all.
isn't executing
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Because that humor is my kind of humor. I've worked in customer service a large portion of my life, and I can definitely get behind that. Plot wise, it's okay, right? He names himself MurderBot at the beginning of the show. Why does he name himself that? That doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Right. It's not a very deep plot. Like I said, they're really trying to get you to ask the question of like, what does it really mean to be human? But at the end of the show, you get to a point where like his memory's wiped and he goes back to being a robot. And it's like, yeah, okay. And there's a point where he's about to be destroyed, and you go, okay. So it's just like, yeah, he's not human. Like, it didn't really work for me.
AI
Like I
just
said,
heard you say that, Josh. You're in
they're
trouble.
good.
Just kidding.
The AI did hear me say that, and now the AI is going to procrastinate taking over the world because it knows that it needs to be more inventive.
Don't be bored, AI.
So what was your rating, Josh?
4.5.
Okay.
Like I was tempted to give it a 6 because it's like I didn't hate watching it. Would I rewatch it? No. But then you have to ask yourself, is it better than mediocre? Would I rather watch Black Panther? I would rather watch Black Panther.
I would rather watch Black Panther than this too. I was as bored as the robot with the book and the show. For me. What about you, Lauren, with the episodes that you've watched?
I got to the part where it started getting exciting, but then the next episode hadn't come out, and then I just never thought to pick it back up.
Okay, so that gives her rating. She just forgot about the show.
Forgot about it. That's why when I saw
So apathetic, she doesn't even bother to store it in her memory.
I saw that you guys had it written, and I was like, I'll ask him if it's worth it. It sounds like it's not. Sorry,
Yeah, I don't think so.
we're suggested we watch it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hope that you're still loving it. It does work
Yeah.
for a ton of people. Well, people love these books. They are like sci-fi, big, big books. Um,
I bet the
anyway,
books are better.
you should give one a try and see what you think. Maybe it'll work for you. It just also didn't.
Well, they
It
won't
just didn't
have
work for
that
me.
main actor phoning in the lines, so they've got to be better, even if it's shot-for-shot remake.
Give it a try, man. Give it a try. You should read it. Give it a shot. Anyway, let's go to our shared topic. We watched Tombstone together, and I can share my thoughts first. I I don't really love westerns, to be completely honest, and they all range from none of them are worse than Black Panther that I've ever seen, but most of them are just kind of like, eh, it's fine. And I think this is on the top end of, it's fine. I I enjoyed it enough. I'm glad that I watched it once. It's very famous. The actual town is it's in Arizona, but it's really not that far from where we live. Um, and I think it'd be cool to actually go see the town and tour it. I think the acting is good. I like the basic story. Sam Elliott is the freaking man, and everything that he's in makes it better because Sam Elliott's awesome. He's the only person that looks good in a mustache. Only one. Mustaches are coming back in, and they're like the overalls for men. They look terrible. Always. Except for Sam Elliott, the freaking guy could pull off a mustache like a G. Um, Kurt Russell is good in it. It's got a stat cast, really good cast. I enjoyed the death scene where he's like, "Go and live your life." That death scene was well done. It was good. If you like westerns, I can see why you like this one better than most because I do think it's better than most. But at the end, it's still just a western, and westerns of all are all just kind of sixes for me. And I would give this one like a 6.7, 6.8, somewhere like that. It's close to a 7. But do I find myself really wanting to watch any Western that I can think of? No. There's probably an exception, but not really. No. Um, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. What about you, Lauren?
Um, yeah, I mean, like, it's like Louis L'Amour, right? Like, if you've seen a Western, you've seen them all.
Yeah.
Reason why I suggested we watch Tombstone, because I hadn't seen it since I was, like, really young. Probably too young to be watching a rated R movie. But it was my dad's favorite movie.
Oh,
And my
cool.
dad loves everything Western. And like Tombstone is his absolute favorite movie. And so I was like, oh, it'd be interesting to watch it again now that I'm an adult. And
Cool.
I actually did some research on like the Earl brothers, the Earp, Wyatt Earp and his brothers in Tombstone, and it was actually pretty accurate. The movie was pretty accurate to what went down. There was a little bit more, um, there were more fight scenes in the movie than what were recorded, but it was fairly accurate. And I love Doc Holliday though. I think he was the best character in this movie. He just
I
has
agree with
so
that.
many great one-liners in there. Like he has the iconic "I'll be your Huckleberry." Uh,
I did like that. I
and
did like that.
the part where he's like, "You're so drunk, you probably see two of me." He's like, "I got two guns, one for each of you." And it's like everybody needs a friend like Doc Holliday because then he was like following Wyatt Earp, and the one guy's like, "Why are you following him?" And he's like, "He's my friend." And he's like, "I have tons of friends," and he's like, "I don't." And I was like, "He's a real one." So yeah, I just love Doc Holliday in this. I love that character. But yeah, I agree with everything that you said. Like, I think this is like a top tier uh Western movie. But yeah, Western movies to me, and I know that's some people's like jam, like my dad. Anything Western, Louis L'Amour. Like he's read all of the Louis L'Amour books. I mean,
That's
like
crazy. There's so many of them.
there's so many. um, but I mean, I guess that's kind of like the same thing as like, oh, I can't think of that.
It's like Hallmark for men.
Yeah, exactly. um, yeah, and then like you said, it was a stacked cast. Like every single person that popped up on the screen, I was like, oh, I know that actor. Oh, I know that actor. I know all of these actors. um, there, I'm trying to think if there was any that really surprised me. That were in there, but
Charlton Heston was, I didn't know that he would be in it.
yeah, there's the guy from My Big Fat Greek Wedding was in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? um Sandman I forgot was in it, but I did know that from Spider-Man. Uh
He was the other one for me.
yeah, there's but yeah, the more and can we talk about how like Sam Elliott hasn't aged at all?
At all. It's crazy.
It's insane. I feel like he's been old forever. Like he probably was born with that mustache.
Yeah. Him and what's the other guy's name? Oh, what's his name? The Ocean's 11 guy who literally does not age.
Brad Pitt?
No, the other dude. Brad Pitt looks good. This other guy, Ocean's came out in like 2000, right? What was his name? Other main dude. George Clooney. George Clooney and Matt Damon, or not Matt Damon. George Clooney and the other one we were just talking about. Good.
Sam Elliott.
No. Hold on a second. Let me look at Ocean's 11. Okay.
I don't think Matt Damon's aged very much either.
I don't think so either. But
he's just gotten bigger when he's bulked up for his movies.
Yeah, and then he shrinks when he needs to shrink, and that's about it. So
the timeline is
you've got Brad Pitt and you've got George Clooney. This is like this came out in what year did this come out? 2001. George Clooney has stayed the exact same. He has not aged at all. Brad Pitt has aged well, but it looks like George Clooney started at 40, and now Brad Pitt, who's 50-something, is now 40, and George Clooney is still 40. And now they look the same age, and it's crazy.
I think Brad Pitt's in his 60s.
I was in his 60s. He looks fantastic. But George Clooney still looks freaking 40. It's nuts. Anyway, back to the movie that we were talking
Tombstone.
about. Back to Tombstone. What would you rate this, Lauren?
I would give it a 6. I'd watch it before Black Panther.
Okay.
But like it was interesting watching it without my dad, because I remember watching it with my dad. My dad would just be spouting facts of like what actually happened, or like deep lore on Wyatt Earp and stuff like that. So I think it would go up if I was watching it with my dad. But
cool. Do you have a favorite Western movie?
Maverick.
Okay.
It has what's his face? Mel Gibson. It's pretty funny.
I've seen it.
I like it.
That one's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. Mine's either No Country for Old Men, or I actually don't remember the name of the other one, but it's a Tom Cruise movie that I don't think counts. But
as he's a Tom Cruise movie, or as a Western?
As a Western. He is a Irish guy who moves over to the States as an immigrant and then goes to the Western Front so he can get his own land. And it's kind of Western, but kind of not. I love that movie. I just don't think it counts. Anyway, Josh, what do you think?
Okay, so I want to state for the record that I was not part of choosing any of the shared topics this week.
Okay.
They were chosen by Conlon and Lauren, and I accepted.
Basically saying I didn't like any of them. Spoiler alert.
Part of the choosing.
I was held against my will.
Like I freaking had to watch all these movies, you jerks.
I don't think westerns are the setting for me. I don't know why they don't work for me because I love Star Wars and Star Wars is just a western in space. So I
Yeah.
don't get why it's such a disconnect for me. Because I love Star Wars.
I feel like
Yeah.
I
I
know
love a
why.
lot of these westerns in other things work, but westerns in western times, it just does not work for me. Okay, Lauren, why?
Because when I asked if you like the different like ninja samurai or whatever, you always choose like samurai because like there's like the codes and stuff like that. And I feel like with cowboy movies, there is kind of like a code, but not really. It's like lawless and it's like whoever's the quicker draw wins, where it's not really like based on um morals.
This one's based on morals.
Yes.
Tombstone's all about morals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I feel like most westerns, it's like talking about like you take the law into your own hands, whereas like samurai type things, like there's a code. There's where like cowboy ish, it's like it's we choose our own morals and then we uphold our own things by what we choose of it, and it's well mostly lawless. But Tombstone is about them trying to set the law, whereas most westerns you haven't gone there yet. That's what I think.
Josh, I'm curious. Have you seen the Magnificent Seven ever?
Yeah.
Have you seen the Seven Samurai?
No.
Okay, the Seven Samurai was before the Magnificent Seven, and basically they just remade that film into a western, which is the Magnificent Seven. I would be curious what you think about the Seven Samurai because it is basically the same movie with samurai.
I probably wouldn't like it because I don't like the Magnificent Seven. I thought it was a
Okay.
dumb movie and a waste of time.
Did you see the old one or the new one?
The new one.
Okay, the old one is better, but they're both westerns. So.
If you say so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that that's the case because, like I said, Star Wars is just a western
But
in
that's like
space.
Western samurais in space. What are the Jedi,
Okay,
but
if
not
you're counting
samurai?
western samurais, I guess The Last Samurai is my favorite western. Um,
I'll count it.
I think I've narrowed it down. I really just think it's the setting,
Okay.
like the old timey whatever. I also feel like when I'm watching the movies, everybody's over forcing the accents.
Hmm.
Like it feels silly to me. And this was no exception, especially when Sandman was talking. I was like, dude, just stop. You're my favorite part of this movie, or second favorite part of this movie. But like, stop with the accent, okay? We don't need that. Just be a person, okay? Um,
What are you saying? People with accents aren't people, Josh?
no, people who do fake accents are just obnoxious.
You get dehumanized
And
if
just
you
like,
do that.
yeah. I just feel like it's overly forced. Like,
Fair enough.
um, there was one scene in this movie that I thought was exceptional, and that was Doc coming out of the forest to kill the guy when we were expecting our main character to come and do it. I was just blown away with the cinematography of that moment, of having him cloaked in black and walking in all slow, and the our bad guy starting to get scared and all of that kind of stuff. That moment was amazing, and made worth watching the movie worth it for that moment. Like that scene is great. Everything else in this was not great. Um, all of Doc's one-liners, like they were the best part about the movie, but they really didn't land for me. My favorite was I've Got a Gun for Each of You, which you just quoted. All of the other ones, I was just like, okay, guy, that's fine.
Cool.
That's fine.
Cool. Western version of Cool Story, bro.
Yeah.
So what would you rate it, Josh?
I would rate that one scene with Doc as a 9 out of 10. That scene is amazing.
Okay.
I would rate the rest of the movie, not including if you take out that scene, it's like a 3.
Okay. So, guys, you thought that he was going to like it because he decided to wear a horse on his shirt today. Like, you thought, yeah, he's just like, he's a changed person. He just wants horses all the time. Western, let's go. But you shocked us all and gave it a 3. Are there any Westerns you do like?
Star Wars.
Are there any, like, traditional type Westerns that you like?
No.
No?
The closest comes to Remember the Alamo.
Okay.
But that's mostly like a history love for me. Lauren's right. The history in this is actually really accurate. I give it a lot of props for that. So I guess I'll give it a 4 because of history coolness. But yeah.
Otherwise, it's not for you.
Yeah. Also, Remember the Alamo is not really like a traditional Western either.
No, it's a little different. It's a little different. All right, guys. With that note, we are going to go on to our next episode, and Lauren's going to ask me questions about a fantastic movie that I can't wait to talk about. We appreciate you guys watching. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff. See you guys. Peace. Bye.